Hi everyone, I've got a thing here. This is a desk tidy organiser, I don't know, kitchen things organiser. It's some sort of an organiser. And as you can see, it's got a spinny base. Now I want to turn this into a water feature. So my thoughts are pump in here, filter media, plants, fishy area. Now obviously I've got to make holes through, and the first thing I need to do is make this waterproof while still retaining the spin. I could just chuck in some silicone or something, but then of course it will stop it from doing that. So my thought was, can I stick down a bottle top like that and make that waterproof? So you've still got that space underneath for the spinny thing to happen, then all my filter and all the rest can go in on top. So first of all, we're going to need a tiny little water pump. They don't get much tinier than this. And it's got a flow controller as well, so you can turn it up and down just by turning that little knob. So it's USB powered, so that's nice and easy as well. So what, don't even know what flow this is currently on. We'd have to test it. Looks like there's an up and a down, so it's very, very tiny. It just looks like a little pond pump, and that's going to go in there. So obviously we're going to need some way for the water to get into there, and we're going to need a little slot. We need to get the cable in and out in a tidy fashion too, aren't we? Right, so that's our little pump, and then the water's going to come up and over and into one or more of these. You know what, it could even just flow over the top, couldn't it? I don't know. Come on, little. So once we've got this done, you see, I'm hoping that the little pump, it's got little suckers on it, will sucker onto the bottle top. Could do with getting it fairly central. Doesn't have to be exact. We put some pressure on it, and there we go. We have got our... Now, obviously that's going to dry quite quickly because it's hot glue. So the next thing I'm going to do is mix up just a little bit of silicone and pour around it just to make sure. So silicone. The silicone I tend to use for everything. Yeah, the silicone I use is from RESIN. It's a 1-to-1, nice and easy. Dries really nice and soft, and importantly for projects like this and anything you're going to be using ultraviolet curing materials in as well, as it's translucent. So this will be, by the time it's got water and everything in it, you'll barely be able to see this. Unfortunately, the pump isn't translucent. So just stir it up, and now I'm going to pour it in, because that will have cooled and stuck now. Yeah, that's well stuck. And it doesn't matter that it's not entirely centred. It's a bit fiddly working in that space. Anyway, I'm going to pour this in. Then our next job's going to be making holes in it, which sounds a bit rough, doesn't it? But that's what we're going to do. Got a little tool for doing that with, but I've got to think really carefully about the water flow and where it's going to go. I think what I'd like is just one compartment that's actually the filter stuff. And there's room for aquascaping in here, and we're just going to pour it around the sides, because this is just going to make sure it's got absolutely definitely not going to leak. And of course it'll provide a nice soft layer to put whatever filter material I'm going to, because there'll be something in here. I might put a foam around the pump to stop the pump actually getting blocked up. Actually, you know, let's put some silicone on the base of the little pot as well. Might make the pump stick to it if it's got like a rubbery, smooth, clingy surface. Right, I'm going to leave that for a couple of hours or more. Let that all cure up. All right, back in a bit. Okay, I think I've got a plan. As you can see, I've been drawing all over this. You see that? Huh? Yeah. So, I think my plan is, obviously pump's going to go here. Now that silicone is set, I think it'll stick. Yeah, sticks well enough. So, I'm going to have cable go out probably here, because it'll go over the filter area then. That gives the fish this area, most of this area. This bit's just, I mean, there's going to be plants all around, but this bit's just going to be extra heavily planted. Now, I have noticed that these edges drop away, so there's always going to be an emergency overflow going on, which is good. And I've decided the water's going to go in 2 places around here. Now, obviously, there's a danger that the fish will get sucked in. that if they have babies, I might lose babies into there. So although this will be on a very low setting, what I'm going to do is drill quite a lot of holes, but quite close together in two areas, thus spreading the suck effect out. And I will then be putting a little bit of mesh or glue over the inside. So thankfully, with my little mini drill, I can just about get into here. I just hope it doesn't shatter. I'm going to go slowly and see what happens. Actually, let's put some tape over it first. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? 2 rows, a low down and a high up. Of course, this also begs the question, how am I going to make holes through these so the fish can come and go? It's going to have to be biggish holes, isn't it, so they can swim through. That's the idea. Now, whether I can get in here with a round hole cutter, I don't have one with my little drill kit. It is just a little toy one, really. Right, cross everything. This little drill really isn't up to it, but good grief, this stuff's tough. Okay, let's try a different idea. Okay, after much messing, I've realised that making holes in this is going to be easier said than done. Incidentally, it does still spin. A bit of silicone got through underneath, so it's being a bit sticky, but it does still spin. It's good. You can see there's a bit of silicone reeling itself off there. Don't know how it managed that, but it did. There we are. Okay, let's get some pipe work. Put them all in here and see what we've got. So clearly going to be miles too big for this little tiny pump, but nothing that some silicone and stuff won't fit. And I need some rubber pipes. I must say, if anybody fancies one of these for their desk, you're going to be hard pushed to damage and scratch it or anything. I can't get this blinking tape off now. Right, it's going to be a clean-up job afterwards. So, I've got a load of different size pipes here. Let's get some big scissors. What I did was I got a metre of various different sizes because I really didn't know what I was going to end up needing, and I thought, well, I'll use pipe. I always use pipe. So first of all, let's start with the pump. Oh, actually, no, let's bring it back and just put it to one side. God, I really need more room in here. Now, this pump is going to go here. So, how high do we need this pipe to go? Not very. So that can go straight onto the pump. And this fits. How does this fit? It fits onto there. That fits onto there. Okay, is that too long? Miles too long. There's our outlet. But I want the pump to go there, so that's going to be blowing rather than sucking, isn't it? Okay, pump's going to have to go here. Replan. Yeah, the little pump's going to have to go in this corner in the end. Which is annoying. That's kind of not what I wanted. I really wanted it to go in this middle bit. But the middle bit can be extra filtration. I can put a plant in there or something. So we're going to need a little bit of pipe that fits on that. There was method in my madness buying all these bits of pipe. I think we're looking at this one, but we're going to need to glue it. Like so. That's okay. I've got some glue, I've got silicone, we can do that. I'm going to end up having to fill this with water to see what happens. So the holes here will be hidden. You know what? That actually fits onto the pump. Hey, that was a lucky shot. Okay, so that's nearly resting on the top. Oh, hang on, no, it doesn't want to go there, does it? Feels like it's, yes, done it. We have a lip. Don't try this at home, kids. This is a really bad idea. That's weird. That's actually, well, not weird. Ow! That's actually worked, she says, burning herself. Well, I never. So making holes in this would work if we make them something bigger that I can get really hot. An old soldering iron or something like that would probably do it, wouldn't it? That'll do. That's actually made quite a decent little V. It just looks a bit messy. I can live with that. Right, so the water can go in and out of here. There's little holes here as well, so we'll get a little bit of flow coming through here, but the majority should come out of there. Done. Suction that onto there. Job's a good one. Ah, yeah, now look, we're in business now. Now, I want to see what water does in this. Wish me luck, this is probably going to go everywhere. But I'm going to get a jug, and I'm going to fill this up with water. First thing is to make sure we've got no leakage. Okay, right, this could be disastrous. The thing I didn't check was what setting the pump was on. Is it on low or high? I'll soon find out. Yeah, you've got a bit of a leakage coming on here. It's coming out of there too, which is fine. That's creating an extra bit of current. Oh, that's not bad. This could be almighty messy in a minute if we get any leaks. No? Right, I'm going to go and get another jug of water. So it's flowing over here. It's also flowing back into there. So this pipe isn't quite doing the trick. I mean, in a way, it doesn't matter if it does flow a bit back in the wrong direction, as long as some of it is going through the filter. And that will go into, where will that go? Well, some of it's just going back into there, isn't it? But so to a degree, it will have passed through the filter. This here will slow down once the whole thing's filled up a bit, won't it? It is unnervingly near the top though. And I've still got to get the fish through here, so I'm going to need Mark to cut bits out of it for me, aren't I? Unless they have different fish in different compartments, but that's a mighty small compartment. I wanted fish to have all of this, really. If you're wondering what fish I'm planning to put in it, by the way, I'm thinking something like just half a dozen chili rasboras or something like that. Proper little nano fish that won't mind the shallowness. What I will have to be mindful of, though, is if I switch the pump off, to take some water out first, because if this empties through these holes here, we are going to have a problem. So let's see if this all equalises. Still doesn't solve my problem again letting the fish through from one to the other. So that is definitely where we're going to need to get Mark and his big drill on going. But my aim would be to have the whole water level about a centimetre below the top, and then this wouldn't happen, would it? So I think we've got there. The principle works. It's definitely waterproof, though I am going to chuck a bit more silicone in there to make sure. Even this works, doesn't it? So we need holes made in this, and that will be it. It could even be like a big V cut in it, couldn't it? Okay, so as you can see, that's all gone cloudy. I have got quite a bit of a layer in the bottom. But what I want to do is have 3 different zones. So I think I'm going to have like tropical jungle, then maybe desert, and then something else. Not sure. I've got different sorts of stones and rocks. So maybe tropical jungle riverbed here. I am going to have to glue the wood to some rocks to keep it down. So I think that's a fantastic piece of rock to go there. And then I'm going to want a piece of this lovely wood to grow over it. Now these are very little pieces that I've managed to get hold of. And I'm going to snap some of the bits off because I don't think they're going to work. But that would look like, there we go. But we need to trim that down. That looks like it's growing over the rock. Yeah, actually that's the one, isn't it? I haven't got to trim it then. And it'll stick up out of the water, and that's what I'm looking for. So what we're going to do is get some super glue on that, because that will stop the wood from floating, because of course the wood will be floaty. This is a super glue gel that's actually intended for aquariums. We're going to leave that to stick. That's a nice one. You see, that could go up the back as well, couldn't it? That would be a great one. Sort of like tree growing up it. Here's a funny looking bit. Let's go with this one. Look, so that'll do for now. Now what I wanted to do was get those gluing while we work on the other stuff. The other thing I want to put in obviously is a layer of gravel. They're all going to have gravel. I think the deserty one in the middle might have sand. Oh, I know what I forgot to do. Put a little bit of gravel in that one. There's obviously a lot of bits in this. This is gravel I've recycled. It's a bit of a mess. What we'll do as soon as we can is get the filter back on and it'll sort all that out for me. This is just sand. I thought I'd got some play sand somewhere. Couldn't find it, but this is just sand. There's some stuff I got for my crafts. So there we go. We've got a sandy one. The other rocks, well, that's all sorting itself out. The other rocks I want to have, let's say, yes, this one's going to be like a desert. So I think that's going to go in there. I probably won't have any plants in this bit, or if I do, it'll just be a lily. I'm trying to remember, I don't need many rocks because this is very small. And then finally, in the last one, should we just go for some wood? I've got some really sort of chunky bits of what look like dead wood. I'm going to have to weight them down somehow. So I've got this little piece of rock here that I am going to put into the back of it, just to act as a kind of a weight, really. I mean, once they waterlog, they'll stay down on their own. But at this stage, they're really not going to, are they? Planting's going to be the fun bit with this one. I love it when it gets to the planting stage. Now, what's going to happen with this little tank as well is that it's going to be left to cycle for, I don't know, 10 days, something like that, so that it can just all really settle, and then we'll know it's ready for the fish to go in. So let's start getting some rocks in. Now my thought here, because this is kind of like a bit of a cornery sort of effect, if I put that there, that will nicely frame where the water's coming in here, and it'll spread the water so it goes around that way. It'll break the flow a little bit, and it's sticking up nicely. It just looks interesting, doesn't it? Because this one, I don't know, I put a small piece there, but I don't think I want that there now. This one I think I want in this area too. So there's not going to be a huge amount of fish swimming room. This one is going to be, there's going to be a lot of plants in here as well as growing in here, because that will all add to the filtration effect. It'll also hold this lecker in place. Like I said, I might have to get some of that back out. I might have put a bit too much. Right, I'm dying to turn this on because it's looking very murky. That's the only drawback of putting your plants and your rocks in while it's still well, there was water in here. That's the problem. Right, so we can put our bits of, spin it round. This is handy, isn't it? What I'm thinking is if we can get some nice bits of wood looking like they're part of a landscape in there, that's going to direct the water out and round. That's the idea. I wonder if this bit can go in there. I'll get some more detailed gravel and lots of little twigs and sticks and things to go in still. But I am going to start running out of space. Let's start putting plants in. I think, like I said, I want this one to look kind of deserty and quite open, so I'm not going to put too much in there. But what I've got some small cryptocorns here, and I'm going to put that one down the back. Now these will probably get quite big and jungly for something so shallow as this, but I think it will just be a nice addition. So we're going to get that in there and keep it in place because we've got quite a nice little corner there. I'm going to put some more aqua soil. Now, to go in the bottom, I want this one quite jungly. So to go in the bottom, we have got all this lot. And in here, I have got all sorts of bits and pieces. First thing is a carpeting plant. There's also a little spiky one. There's some little lilies that aren't looking so happy. And this is what I said, I might drop a lily behind this rock in this one. I quite like these lilies. I'm going to put one, I think, behind the rock in here too. The rock will help keep it in place. Well, a bit of wood in the case of that one. And then we'll come out and spread across the surface. The other things I've got, these are gorgeous little bucephalandras. So we're definitely going to want some of those. Let's just float them in there for a minute while I work out where. I've got two different colours, can't remember what they're called, but they will be lovely little epiphytes. So I will be sticking those to rocks or bits of wood or something. Here is a poor little miniature Anubias. I think it's Nana Bonsai, whatever, that's ended up covered in algae. So I thought we'd find a home for him because he obviously deserves better. This is a clump of golden Anubias, the more golden leafed one. So we definitely want that somewhere, don't we? And then we've got a really nice carpeting plant. So the carpeting plant I'm going to want pretty much everywhere, I think. So let's see if we can get that in next. This is probably all back to front. You should probably put your tall ones at the back in first, but you know, we haven't really got a back and a front here, have we? Now I've not had much luck with carpeting plants in the past, but this one, and I think it is Monte Carlo, is doing really well in one of my nano tanks. So to me that sounds like a potential. And they don't seem to want to stay down, which is fairly inevitable, I suppose. That bit of wood's floating up. Let's take him out for a bit. I know, let's put a bit on top of there, wedge that down there. Right, let's sort these little ones out. These need sticking to little bits of stone and things, don't they? So let's get that done. Actually, let's have this little rock out. Now, the nice thing with super glue is it'll work on wet wood. Like I said, I'm not going to want to put too many plants in here. We're going to have this little lily at the back. This rock will kind of hold it in place. And I think on top of it, this is the deserty one, isn't it? These little boosts will look kind of weird and deserty, I think. So let's just put those on top of the rock and see if it'll cover, the rock in time. This is where I get super glue all over my hands and wish I'd put gloves on, because the carpeting plant will spread from here nicely. So if I stick him to there, getting water everywhere, if I stick him to there, let's put a nice lot of glue on there. Little plants won't mind this as long as you leave plenty of the root clear to, carry on growing and doing its thing. So let's pop that on there. Right, then, so we've got our desert, this is going to be our jungle, isn't it? Let's start sticking some plants on this bit. We're going to end up with two jungles. This one's going to be rocky more. And I think, I don't know, these might both be kind of jungle. Riverbed jungle. Yeah. I wanted was just an more open space in the middle for them to, for the fish to mingle a bit in. There's bits of all sorts growing out of this. A lot of this is the Anubias roots. I'm really pleased with how this Anubias has gone, because this was off one tiny little plant, and it is, here we go, let's put that there. And it is all over Nano Tank too. It's just done so well. Anybody who's just starting out with aquariums, if you want to do live plants, do try Anubias. They're just really easy. Smashing little plants. So we've got some carpeting plant in there. There'll be carpeting plant in there. Ah, yes, look, there's somewhere else I can stick things. We can go on top of this bit of wood as well. Maybe the boose can go on there. That's a nice little clump of a type of boose. Because these are epiphytic, so you'll see these roots go all crazy all across the water. Their leaves might come up out of the water a little bit. It won't mind that to a certain extent. I mean, they'll look great once they've actually settled themselves where they're supposed to be. Now, this little piece, as I've got it out still, we might as well put some of the remaining boose on here too. So there's one little bit. And here's another little bit. Let's stick him up the trunk here a bit, like so. But next time you see this tank, it will be all settled in, because I am going to leave the pump running. Well, in fact, what I'll do, I'll show you it when the pump has been running for like an hour or a couple of hours, whatever. When the water's cleared, that's the thing. There's that little bit of rescue Anubias. There we are. So yeah, what we'll do, we'll get these in. We'll turn it on in a few minutes, and then we will start looking at how it clears. You know what, that's actually settling already, isn't it? Now we've got, while that's all the glue's gluing and so on, I'm going to put in some plants. This is a little Fittonia cutting I got going a while ago. So that's going to go down into the leca there. Now some people say, why won't your plants drown? These are just house plants. I think these are parlour palms, which is actually some sort of fern. Now, they won't. When you overwater your plants and they kind of drown, what's actually caused that is the lack of oxygen rather than the volume of water. Does that make sense? So these little guys will actually really like this, because this water is going to be very oxygenated. So I've separated that up so it's like a little jungle. It'll take a while for that to all take root, of course. Now let's get this lot done. This should now be stuck. Yep. Now where was I going to put that? Let's go in here. I think I was wanting lots of bits of wood in this one, wasn't I? There we are. Let's push him down into the gravel a little bit. Like I said, I have got lots of little sticks and bits of detail to put in, but I need to get those to waterlog yet. Now that is going to hold a little rock in place. Definitely need some more little bits of detail gravel. This is going to go in here. Actually, let's put that. Right, you know what? I'm not going to do any more now. I've got all these little sticks and things. I'm going to get a lot more detail in there yet. And I do need some fine gravel. The only thing I'm noticing here is that really the pipe's coming out and the cable's coming out in the wrong place. But because I was actually kind of forgetting the route that the water would have to take versus where the cable was. So I am going to tuck that down behind the foam, and I hope that keeps it in place. If not, I'll do a bit of doctoring later. But that'll look better. The idea is that the cable disappears in amongst the plants. Okay, let's turn it back on and get some more water in there, and we'll see what it looks like. And then, like I said, we'll let it settle. I'm going to get some bigger bits of gravel and pop in, and we'll see if we can get a bit more detail going. There's another little bit of this deserty looking rock here. Look at that, it's wedge shaped. That would look really nice there. See, all this is rooting the water around as well. There's some little chips from it, which will help with their desert look. In fact, I might go and get Mark to whack one of these with a hammer and make even more bits. Oh, there's a flat piece. Let's have a flat piece like that. That looks kind of weird. Right, there we are. It's coming over our waterfall here. Can you see that? That's good. Let's put some more water in. And this is water just straight off the tap because we're not putting fish in straight away. Now I could put some the stuff in to help start the bacteria filtration, that sort of thing going. But don't forget, we've got plants in here that have got some really well established roots that are going to help straight away. And the other plants that are in here have been cycled. They've all been in water. They've all been making themselves useful elsewhere. So it should all work. Now, we're not going to see much of the lilies initially because they do need to get their little leaves to surface. The other thing I'm going to do is put in the detail wood. I'm just going to drop it in. That's these little twigs and bits. I'm going to just basically drop them in a jug of water and get them all sorting themselves out, basically, starting to waterlog and so on. I mean, there's these bits of wood are just amazing, aren't they? I've got lovely bits that we can play with. That looks like a mad little tree trunk, doesn't it? But I am just conscious I could fill this up, and I do want room for my little fishes to swim around, of course. So let's not go any too more crazy, eh? Right, let's be back in half an hour, however long it takes for this to clear. It shouldn't take long. That's a decent flow. You can see how that's coming in here. That's flowing quite well. So I'm going to have a good clean up. That's my next job. And yes, I'm going to have a tidy up, and I will see you in an hour. Well, it all seems to be working. The water's clearing, look. Put a floaty plant in. There's a bit of debris on the surface, but it's circulating well. I did decide I had a change of heart with the wood over this side and the light. I put a light on it, obviously. But yeah, I found a more dramatic bit of wood to go in this side. Can you see that? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to leave it a week now. So next time you see this will be a week later. Okay, day 4, and I've got impatient, and I have found some of my filter start stuff. So you can see we've got a light over it now. Still spins nicely. The water's clearing lovely. There's just a little bit of surface scum to clear. But with the armed with the filter start, I got all brave, and I have actually put 4 cherry shrimp in here. Oh, there's one. I think there's one. Sorry, I don't know if you can see through the glare of the light. Probably not. But there is a little cherry shrimp down there. Right, the water's running through lovely. I was hoping one of the shrimp would come out to see us because they are really cute. But they are hiding a bit. Anyway, they've been in here for a few hours now and seem to be perfectly happy. And I was working on the basis that the load from these tiny little guys and those 4 little shrimp shouldn't really mess up the water. So I'm just letting this... Of course, the temperatures will be the same because it's in the same room. And I've also taken a load of water out of these little guys' tank and put it in this one. And some snow. So hopefully we should all be quite good to go. I wonder how long before they find the hole through to the next compartment. Can you see them? Let me zoom in. Now the shrimp found the hole to the next compartment quite quickly, and I think it's because that's where the water flow goes. I mean, they are tiny. They are probably a centimetre long. There's quite a flow going on in there, so if it turns out to be too much for them, I'll turn the flow down a little bit. It's quite easy to get this little pump out, turn it down and put it back in. So, shall we have a look in above, see what they're up to from above? They're just milling around in the same area, really. There's those 6, are there 6 there? Yeah, 6 bigger ones. And then there's one other tiny, tiny one, which has led me to believe that somewhere there's another bunch of babies. But we'll see. Now, I think that water flow might be a little bit much. I don't know. I can easily adjust the pump anyway. I'm going to watch them for the next half an hour and just make sure they're okay. And then I'll put a little bit of food in, but I'll let them settle a little bit first. And the little dudes have swum through into the next compartment. Don't think they found the 3rd one yet, but they're definitely making their way around. I have slowed the pump down. I need to do something cosmetic in the middle of this, though. That foam doesn't look great, does it? But yeah, they seem to be settling in all right. I've put them a tiny bit of food in. I don't think they've been very interested yet. They're just exploring at the moment. Now, I have got some green rasboras, neon green I think they're called, and some chili rasboras coming to go in here as well. They're really tiny nano fish. Oh yeah, they're going backwards and forwards through the little hole. Mark ended up making me those holes with his big man tools. Here we go. Looking at the holes going back through. They're adorable. So I'll keep you posted. I'll do bits of film with these over the next few days, and we'll see how they get on. These little guys are just temporary residents anyway. As soon as they're big enough, they will go off to new homes. Just leaving a very light stock of these little rasboras as the permanent stock, and got their 4 little tiny shrimp and some snails. Ah, there's a shrimp. Ooh, and another one. Oh, they seem to be settling in all right. They've made their way right from the other end into this one that's going to be more heavily planted and jungly. There's lots of hiding places in this one. And they're certainly being lively, so it's all looking good.